What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin in this video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 4th day of October, and here we are sitting at about 1.1 cent. I know it's weird being here because we've never been here before, but here we are at 1.1 cent. We've been here for a freaking month, man. It's ridiculous. Over a month at this point. 9 hours left in the day. I do believe that what we're doing here is just consolidating, right? Perhaps accumulating. Perhaps that's what we're doing, right? In this nice horizontal channel. Typically, horizontal channels at the base of a downtrend doth not beget good things, but we're looking for it to beget some goodness here, simply because Bitcoin looks like it wants to move up higher. Ethereum looks like it wants to move up higher. Various cryptos look like they want to move up higher as well, beyond just those two, but a lot of the top dogs do. I would assume that OnyxCoin continues to hold this area as support and will move higher with the rest of the market as well in time. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom out. We did give a little bit of an explanation on OnyxCoin during the live stream, and I made a video for it yesterday, so I'm sure a lot of us are pretty up to date on what the expectations are. Actually, I want to look at the Onyx page. Somebody told me in the comments on that last video that Onyx, they mentioned they were dropping the Dow, and that's fair. That's pretty fair. It's a Dow to a certain degree, but not really, right? It's an organization. It is an organization, and they probably did that. There's probably some kind of strategic move going on here, maybe with proceedings going forward. I don't know. We'll see. There's benefits to it being a Dow, but there's also benefits to being organized. There is. Anyways. Payments for the XCN Zealy ambassadors have now been successfully distributed. Hell yeah. The latest updates for Goliath. Okay, so this was a couple days ago. So nothing really new then. Nothing new. Just some Zealy stuff. Cool. Anyways, looking at the 1 hour time frame, bouncing off the oversold zone perhaps, or getting into the oversold zone. The RSI does look bearish here, right? Lower lows, lower highs. Very clear path. We could have determined that we were dropping just by this because lower lows, lower highs, and we broke out of our uptrend. Right? Take that back here, and we should have been able to tell that we were moving down, right? I was optimistic that we'd keep moving up. There were some other bullish things going on, but just looking back at it retrospectively, these are the signs that we look for whenever determining that we're in a hot spot. And here we are now, probably in a cold spot. We're probably going to turn up the heat a little bit and start moving up here pretty soon. But we could go lower. We absolutely could go lower. We could go down into the oversold zone first, come up, get some bullish divergence, and then move up higher, right? So it could be tomorrow that we actually start moving up. Actually, with that being said, tomorrow might be a good day to move up. I think Bitcoin will move up tomorrow. The rest of the market might have a good Sunday, as we're prone to over the past few months now. The stochastics are crossed down, bearish, and the MACD looks bearish too. So lower, right? 4 hour MACD could keep coming down to the zero, bounce off of that. That would look good. And if we do this in like a timely fashion, tomorrow, Sunday, should be the day that we move up. Maybe we keep moving down until Sunday, and then boom, then we have a nice bounce. That would be nice to see. Stochastics are bearish, very bearish actually. And the RSI overall is actually kind of taking a neutral posture here, or I should say a bullish posture. Overall, we do have this higher low, higher high kind of setup. So I like it, suggesting that again we are at an area where we could bounce. We could go lower, whatever, but then we'll bounce probably going into tomorrow, Sunday. I think it'll be early Sunday that we start moving up. Would be my guess. I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again, but that's my guess at least. I want to see where we are in accordance to this low to high here. Low to high, just below the golden ratio. We're actually at the same area that we were when we bounced from our overall low, because we bounced just above the 786. I would think we go lower. We probably do hit 1.08 cents or 1.05 cents, something in that area there. We'll probably find support there, and then we'll continue to rally. Then we'll move up, yeah. That's my thought. Let's see. Daily time frame. RSI is pretty neutral. Very neutral on the RSI. Living below the 50 overall here, but you're shifting gears, right? That's what we look for. We look for that shifting in gears and that shift in momentum. Very bearish. Very bearish. Now, volatile, but neutral. Very neutral. We're looking to transition into bullish, right? Bearish, neutral, bullish. Bullish is coming next. And it should be happening, I would think, next week and beyond. I think next week will really be, a lot of people, we talked about this in the live stream yesterday, a lot of people were wondering why altcoins aren't really moving up or why some are but not the rest of the market. This isn't an alt season, whatever. I think next week, I really do think that this next like 8 to 9 day period, we're going to see the altcoin markets come to life. The whole crypto space is going to come to life. That's my thoughts. And going into the rest of the month as well. And maybe not everything. If coins don't pump next week, that doesn't mean they're not going to pump. Maybe it's the week after. Everything takes its turn. Just be patient, you know. Maybe next week your coin isn't pumping because last week it pumped. You know what I mean? Things take their turn. It's fine. Don't worry about it if it's not moving up with the rest of the market. Although I would be worried about OnyxCoin, because the reason why here is if OnyxCoin doesn't move up with the rest of the market, we've been consolidating for so long. I think we have more reason than most coins to move up, right? If we just did this, okay, we don't have to move up with the rest of the market, but we've just done this for a very long time. We're ready. We can't be more ready. And we're just moving sideways. We're tapering off here. The last time that we did something like this, we did have a little bit of a reprieve. I'm hoping we get a little bit more than a little bit on this one here. Going back to the daily time frame. Stochastics rejecting the 50, not good. Likely coming down. MACD is bearish overall, but again, there's some optimism here. You rejected the 0, but your rejection's not rejecting. I would think we continue to climb. I don't care that you're decaying in bullish momentum now. I think it's okay. You're kind of, because you're moving sideways, I would bet because you're moving sideways, your MACD is actually a non-factor here. Yeah. So you've been moving sideways for over months. So you know what? Just genuinely, I would say the MACD is a non-factor. Stochastics are bearish. RSI is neutral, so we'll stick with the idea that we come down a little bit by the end of the day, and then maybe tomorrow we bounce. That's the idea. MACD on the 3-day is promising. I mean, overall it's bearish, but it's kind of promising. Stochastics as well, and the RSI is neutral. Weekly time frame here. Again, we are at the same areas on the weekly RSI that we were last time, right before we saw this massive move up. We're at the same areas in the stochastics as well last time that we were at our low points in this overall range. And the MACD is bearish beyond all belief. In fact, it's the most bearish that we've ever seen it, but we're also at a point here on the MACD where if we close the week here or higher, or even a little bit lower, it's fine. We're actually at a point where we could bounce right off the 0 here. Yes, I'm aware that both these oscillators, the orange and the blue line here, that they're below the 0. I'm aware of that, but you can bounce below the 0. That's still a bounce, right? With the blue line especially being that far down, the orange line could be a little bit below. That's still a bounce off of the 0 area. It's not a direct line of support. Sometimes it is, but oftentimes it's not. So we're actually in a really good area on the RSI, stochastics, and the MACD to suggest that we are at an area to bounce and see some life come back. What's great about this is that if we make a move the same size as this last move here, we'll be at new relative highs. And at that point, we're clearly breaking out of this overall trend. And at that point, you'd be thinking, okay, so we're going to actually take out this high and we're going to move higher. Where are our fib extensions? In which case, we take our high to our low. You guys all probably know this. You go to sleep and this is like ingrained into your eyelids. 8.2 cents at a minimum, 15.7 cents at a maximum in this primary target zone. Then we hit 26 to 32 cents, right? Once you get above 15.7 cents, you should rapidly approach 26 to 32 cents. Yeah, it should be like that, very, very fast. What else? I mean, inevitably we're going to go higher, right? Inevitably, once we get up here, whenever that is, by the end of the month of October, it's very possible it's by the end of the month. I know in the live stream we were talking about it being by the end of the year, but it could be. I say that because in the live stream we're reaching out to people that might not normally watch this, so I don't want them, you know, I know a lot of us, I know if it doesn't hit by October, right, the people that have been waiting for this thing to move up, we've made this call for June, July, September, October, August, whatever, you know, we keep pushing it back because we keep moving sideways. We're patient. We're understanding, right? We know that it's going to happen at some point. But if I'm saying it's going to happen by the end of October, but instead we're only here, people who are listening to that, who are new, who aren't aware, they might not see the vision overall. By the end of the year, absolutely, I think we'll be up here. I wouldn't be surprised if it was by the end of October, but it just depends on how we move. Do we see this initial load phase first, where we slowly move back up to where our current highs are, and then we break out? Or do we just rip and run from the get-go? You know, it remains to be seen. However, I do believe we're going to see a bullish October. I do believe we're going to see a bullish end of the year. And regardless of when we get here, I would expect that when we consolidate, we'll probably find support at the golden ratio or the 1414. It's actually very common from this area to go to your 1414, and that's, look at that, right at 10 cents. Very psychological supportive area right there, 10 cents. And then if we look back, I wonder, it's at an area of significance. It's at the high for Coinbase. And then from there, we should be rallying all the way up to $1, no problem. Consolidate maybe at psychological resistance, and then continue to move up to about $1.70, $2.60. This is where I ultimately think we're going to go. I doubt we hit 260. I wouldn't be surprised if we stopped right at $1.70 or somewhere around there. Maybe even just above $2, but time will tell. We'll see. I expect this to, basically take place once after this month here. This is the beginning of it. I think by the end of this month, we're going to see one of two things. Either we're going to be up here, right, slowly kind of working our way back up here to our high area like we did back over here, and then loading up in November, and then December we rally, right, something like that. Or we're just going to skyrocket right now because we have seen one of the longest consolidation phases that we've been in really in OnyxCoin's existence. And we're more fundamentally charged here than we were back here. There's more going on with OnyxCoin. It's only better now than it was back here. I can't imagine that we'll do anything less than what we saw here, or potentially even more. But I got nothing else, guys. I'm just rambling at this point, so hit the like button, subscribe. Again, this weekly time frame really does give me a lot of hope because we're at these very similar areas in all these indicators where we were back down here. It just, the timing of it's the one thing that makes me scratch my head. Are we gonna load up first? And it's very common. It's very common with these highs, whenever you're in these ranges like this, to kind of meander your way up there, and then once you get up there, then that's whenever you break out. But you never know. We'll see how it goes. One way or another, I think that it's a good time to buy. If the question comes to mind, is it a good time to buy? We're at 1 cent, man. It's a great time to buy. And if you don't buy here, you better not be buying here. Okay, don't buy the highs. Anyways, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care.